It's time for Talkin Tauntauns, your Star Wars source at AIPTcomics.com.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Talkin Tauntauns. I am Jim Lehane, and with me as always is our favorite Nicole Herview.
Hello there, that's so sweet.
And with us, making his triumphant return after months in newlywed bliss, it's Alex Bond.
Hello there.
Welcome
Alex.
back.
Alex literally took a wrench to our January plans and threw them into the grinder and said, I cannot record. I'm getting married soon. And we said, oh, fine.
It was a frantic run to the end there. Our
It was.
goal. So the wedding was February 11th, and the goal was to have everything done, settled, paid for, all of the stuff that we were using for decoration, all that stuff, done, settled February 1st.
Oh,
And
I'm
I
like
think you
March
texted
10th.
for like. So I think you guys texted probably like President's Day weekend or no,
Sure.
is it Martin Luther King weekend?
It was a mid-January.
Yeah, like mid-January. Like, hey, do you want to record Sunday? And I was like, genuinely, I cannot. Like, there's no way. As much as I would love to set some time to sit down and just talk into a mic, like, all of my mental energy had to go into that. And you know what? It was worth it, because what a wedding.
It was fantastic. Like,
The wedding was so good that I haven't seen Nicole since then.
oh yeah, right. Hi. I was
that
in the wedding, and then I haven't seen y'all since the wedding.
And then she bailed on the friendship.
It happens.
That's called giving the newlyweds some space, Bond. That's what that's called. Letting y'all recover.
I don't
Oh,
know. I wasn't
boy, howdy,
invited,
did
so
you need it.
I don't know. Invite
Yeah.
was obviously lost in the mail.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I must have had your old address or something. I don't know what happened there.
That's entirely possible. I did used to live other places.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, I
They
was
went to
like, you know,
Utah.
I just Googled, you know, Jim Lehane, Utah, and something came up, and I sent it there. Was that
up?
wrong?
I apologize for not showing up. Your present is also in the mail.
Oh, cool, great. I've moved. I moved like 3 years ago. So if you need the new address, just let me know.
I'll let you know.
Unreal.
But yeah, other than that, things have been pretty good. We had a nice little cool down period after the wedding. Did a few days down in Florida to visit Vicky's grandma and have some relaxation time. So this return is very well timed, although I'm not sure I'm allowed to talk about anything live action. You know?
No, so you're just going to sit there
historically,
the
you guys
whole
have
episode.
hidden me away from anything that's not aired within the last 10 years of Star Wars.
Well, you can
Yeah.
talk about any parts of these episodes that are animated.
Oh, so all the CGI.
Yeah.
Oh, so the whole thing.
Or I will also give you any characters that appeared in animation first.
Mm-hmm.
So
True,
you talk
true.
about like
That's a good,
Bo-Katan a
yep.
lot.
There we go. Yeah.
That's
she's
about
somewhat.
it.
She's somewhat. This
Oh,
ice
no.
cream truck must be right outside my window.
There's another very important character that you could talk about from the first episode we're talking about today.
That
that's-
premiered in animation.
Yes.
First one was
This is a cameo. I'm talking about the cameo that happened in episode 5.
the cameo appearance in episode 5. Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes,
You can talk about that.
I can.
I think you're
That's
done
a-
wondered
now.
if that
That's a
was
huge
why-
one.
Yes,
is a big
I wondered if that's why I got the gig here today,
Correct. That's exactly why.
because of the
it's-
tie-in, because of what's
Yeah.
to come.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was, I believe that was what Nicole and I were texting each other about without actually talking about it.
Correct.
Like literally,
'Cause-
nobody said what it was. We just complained both that we got spoiled by something about something.
Correct. Like immediately.
Yeah, I saw a screen grab of the moment when I was in Florida. We left on Wednesday night, so most of like our pre-flight Wednesday was dropping off Penny with my parents, doing our last minute, pack up. We left from Atlantic City, so it's like 2-hour drive down. But the whole day I was like, I mean, we could carve out like 45 minutes for Mandalorian before we go, surely. But it was not to be. And then I got that screen grab and I was like, I really wish that we had just like woken up a little earlier and just watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before we get to the Mandalorian, we have news?
Do we?
I don't know.
No.
You didn't message any news?
No, we have no news because
We
all
did
of
all the news.
all of the news was last week. And
All of it.
people that were running celebrations still are not home. So it was news free this week. So we only have the Mandalorian.
We only have olds.
Yeah.
Got no news, only olds.
Yep. So
Yes.
we're going to be talking 2 episodes today. Chapter 21, The Pirate, and Chapter 22, Guns for Hire.
When one chooses to walk the way of the Mandalore, you are both hunter and prey. This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
I'm going to say this to kind of kick it off. The so far, I'm not talking about 7. We're not talking about 7, which is going to be really hard for me, but
I know.
the titles
That's gonna be
are
really tough.
still referring to multiple people.
Yes.
Like this kind of like continues that
Yeah.
trend of the titles referring to not just one person, which is just continuing. I like that this trend is going to keep going. I don't know what it's going to mean.
I still don't know why they didn't call it the Pirates. There's not just one pirate that's important to
Yeah.
the episode.
Correct. And that's what I'm saying. It could apply to multiple people.
Right. Well, less like the
But-
convert obviously applied to Pershing and Bo-Katan,
Correct.
and both of their journeys over that hour.
Correct.
The pirate, there's a group of pirates that are taking over Navarro.
Correct.
The Mandalorians fight them. It's a
think,
little less like implied, I think, than the other ones were.
I think because it's about both what's his nuts, the green man.
Gorian Shard.
Gorian
Shand,
Shard.
Shard.
Shard? Gorian Shard.
Gorian
And-
Shard, Fennec Shand.
and-
Yeah.
And Vane. I think the
Yes.
other pirate is Vane. Like, I
Our
think that's
tee
why
up
it's...
for,
yes.
a future series.
Well, that's what we talked. Vane potentially is coming back in Skeleton Crew.
Skelly Crew.
And so, but I want to, before we touch on the episodes at all, the internet agrees with you that the Mandalorian is no longer Din Djarin, but
Correct.
Bo-Katan this season, and the internet hates it, but I love it.
I don't.
Didn't I thought someone involved with the show? Maybe it was one of the EPs, or maybe it was Favreau himself. Pretty much said that like the title of the show, the title of Mandalorian, no longer just applies to Din Djarin.
Yeah, I think it's
It's
multiple... yeah.
It's about the Mandalorian culture, movement,
Correct.
rise, resurgence, whatever. I wonder what they're gonna call that movie. Like, it's gonna
Oh,
be the
man, I'm so
Mandalorian
amped.
subtitle something.
yeah.
No, they're gonna
don't
just
know.
fuse like Ahsoka, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and just call it like Mvinchnup.
Well, what they're going to call it is Dave Filoni's child. And
Yeah.
that's... and
Dave
it's-
Filoni's Star Wars.
Yeah. It's
It's
the
gonna be-
Filoni-verse.
It's gonna be
Knights of
heir
the
to
New
the Empire.
Republic.
It's gonna be heir to the Empire.
Yeah, right. That
I
does
don't
feel
doubt
kind
it.
of yeah.
I don't doubt it. That name was dropped in 7. Never mind. We'll get there. I just watched 5, 6, and 7 for the first time last night, so it was just like I'm gonna get my
Well,
wires
it's
crossed.
Because I'm mixing up if it was dropped in 7 or just in that Ahsoka teaser. Did they say it in 7? I know we're not talking
Not
about
heir
7.
to the Empire, Thrawn. I'm talking about
Oh
Thrawn.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's what
Yeah.
I texted you about 7, and I said that episode was just intense.
It
And
was
you're
a
like,
lot.
I need to catch up. I'm like, oh yeah, like it was
I did.
intense.
I don't
I've
know
done
how
it.
you can wait on this. I cannot wait when episodes
tell you
drop for
why.
the show. I won't be able to wait when Ahsoka episodes start dropping.
Oh, no, I won't be waiting for that, but I'll tell you why I have to wait. A, because I have to work first thing in the morning, basically. And B, things kept getting spoiled in the middle of my workday for me. So I was like, oh, it already happened. You know what I mean? Like, we're done. So there's no urgency anymore. And then I just end up doing other stuff. And, you know.
Just try and buy some time for you to maybe forget about the spoilers.
Correct. So that's why I've been waiting. But that's it. Like, I've almost just been too angry to watch the show. Because this, we'll talk about obviously in episode 5 and then in episode 6, the cameos, only 2 of 3 were spoiled for me. And I got so excited at the 3rd cameo in 6.
Oh, you mean like by actor?
Actor, yes.
I see.
And I was so mad. I guess we'll get into it right now because we're obviously going to spoil everything as we talk through these episodes.
But before you do, we're 10 minutes, 11 minutes into recording. I can still hear the ice cream truck.
Get out.
It's straight up waiting for me.
It is.
This
Do
is
you need to go
painful.
get ice cream?
No, I'm not going to go get ice cream. I'm going
Are
to...
you waiting for a knock on the door?
I know, right? Like, dude, where are you? Come
He's
on.
like standing
You're
at
only
the
one that buys
window
from here.
holding an ice cream cone. Like, Alex.
If only. Oh,
Buddy.
that's the dream. You want to talk about the dream? That's
Yeah.
the dream.
That is a dream.
That's a nightmare. I believe I've had those fever dreams after having ice cream at night.
Yeah,
My God,
yeah.
man.
Well, it's someone's presenting you with an ice cream cone, but they have no face. It's that kind of stuff. It's that you're like you wake up and you're like, in the moment that was a really nice dream, but now I'm thinking about it, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it.
Yep.
It's like a somehow worse version of the Ice Cream Man comic. Like, it's almost worse than that.
Yeah,
Remember that? Because
I
that
do remember
was
that.
such a good series.
Yeah. So
So
back
what I
to
was
the
going to say is, obviously,
spoiled performers.
Zeb got spoiled for me.
Mhm.
Gara,
And then-
Zeb, or Relios. Yes. That was...
Very exciting.
In a quick moment of, we need to start building the model now for Ahsoka, so we're going to put it in here.
Yeah,
so we
pretty
can use
much.
the reference points later.
And it looked great. I wasn't
Was
mad.
he CGI or was he like some sort of practical in there?
That
He was
all
mocapped
CGI.
for sure, so I think they
Mocap,
just
yeah.
CGI'd over him.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
He looked
that was
great.
full CG for sure.
I had no idea how they would adapt him, and he looked
looked fine.
fantastic.
Yeah, he fit.
He-
And
he-
then in this... Go ahead.
I was gonna go since we're talking about Zeb. I like my Twitter was fantastic. Like nobody spoiled anything.
Immediately.
Flipboard had a screenshot, and the title of the news article was, "And who is Zeb?" And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh, no. I opened Twitter by accident because I was like, I'm just going to stay off social media. Obviously, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to watch the episode right away. I accidentally opened Twitter, and it was right there. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And then in the second one, the cameos of, from, I guess they're cameos or they guest.
I think they're
Roles,
guest spots. They're in
whatever.
several scenes.
Yeah, because they're like key to this episode.
Yeah.
Lizzo and Jack Black got ruined for me.
Yeah, I had
And
no
I
idea.
was so mad. I was so mad. Not because they're 2 of my favorite people. So it was like the best. But also like, I really wish I could have had that moment in the episode of being like, holy crap, that's Lizzo and Jack Black.
Well, that's
which
like
is
I
incredible.
I was sitting there going, "That's Jack Black," and then it like pans over to Lizzo, and she starts talking. I'm like, "And that's Lizzo." I'm like,
How
I was
delightful.
so confused. And then
So great.
I think
Like,
the
and
last
not-
one.
In no way was it
yes.
distracting. Like, some people are
No.
like, oh, how can you get these, like, A-listers? Like, because they're not going to be in any other Star Wars.
Yeah,
And
this
they're
is
Getting
this is
the one
great.
day on set, and they're, like, owning the character.
Yeah.
They're super animated, like, stupidly cartoonish people.
Yeah.
Who you totally buy in that environment. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was
Jack
going to
Black
say,
just plays
like,
a kooky dude that used to work in the Empire.
Jack Black was great, as always. Like, that man can do no wrong. Like, to me, he's, like, phenomenal. Chef's kiss, phenomenal actor. I love him. And then Lizzo is just, like, I love her as a human being. I don't even listen to her music because it's just not my type of music that I go towards. But, like, She's fantastic, and I love her. And her clothing line, Yitty, great stuff. I live, breathe, and die by it. It's that's for the fashion peoples. Excellent. She wasn't bad. You know,
She was fine.
Like, she played the choices she was making worked. They were good. Is she an A+ actor? No, but she's a musician and we talked about this last episode. Unbelievable flute player, like stupid musician, like so good. So this was fine. Like she was in maybe 5
SNL
minutes of the episode.
I think it was last year. She was a host of SNL. She was phenomenal. It was a great
I believe
episode.
that.
She just completely owned it.
Yeah.
She's one of those people that I think her energy and enthusiasm is infectious, and people bounce off it. So like her chemistry with Jack Black in those scenes, right on the money. They were great.
Why
The way
aren't
that
they
Jack Black
a real
was
couple? Because
pronouncing
that was
program.
beautiful.
I reprogrammed. It was in the program.
I personally oversaw the program.
I died for that pronunciation. That was great.
What a great choice. What a phenomenal acting choice to just be like, you know how this guy's gonna talk? Program. And
But I saw it from afar, like the long shot down the table. I saw the beard and I heard the voice, and I was like, "There's no way Jack Black's in this show."
right?
That's what I thought. I'm like, is that? It is. And
So
then-
good.
And then we pan to the third guest star of the episode, and I'm like, oh yeah, we talked about Christopher Lloyd being in the series, and there
Suddenly
he
that
is.
came back to me.
Did.
Like, oh yeah, that casting was announced. The other two weren't, which
I
was interesting.
forgot until this moment.
Like, I guess they could keep Jack Black and Lizzo secret because it's closed set. They're interior shots, so there's no chance of like someone looking from afar. So like the set photos of like Andor are leaking and leaked for the first season as well. They're like, oh, they're building this set out in wherever they're filming, and you can see this ship has been made, and you can see these actors. This is a lot of studio shots and indoor stuff, so they're kind of kept under the radar. But then Christopher Lloyd's in the same episode, and they announced that, but I guess that's less of like a holy crap moment. I mean, it's still a holy crap moment. It's kind of...
Was for me.
The memes afterward have been very funny. Mandalorian versus Man in DeLorean.
I
sorry,
I didn't see that
Oh.
one.
Christopher Lloyd put one on his Twitter. In fact, let me find
I
what
love that.
So there was a, I mean, feel free to bleep the name of the subreddit, but the movie details, which is just for a bunch of jokes. It's a picture of Christopher Lloyd from The Mandalorian, and the caption is, in Back to the Future 3, Doc Brown mistakenly goes back a long time and ends up in a galaxy far, far away. This action accidentally creates a religion known as the Mandalorians, a mistaken interpretation of the phrase man in DeLorean.
I
hate it? You hate it?
Yep. I love it, but I love it, but I hate it. But I think that's excellent. Phenomenal. Do I wish that I could have had the same reaction to everything else that we just talked about? Yeah. But you know what? It's fine.
That's
fine.
the way it goes.
Yeah.
So let's
I guess
go.
we should actually talk about the actual episodes, huh?
And we should start with the one that we're not talking about yet.
7?
No,
What?
we started talking about the one after the pirate episode.
Right.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
We got to talk about the pirate. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just saying, chronologically, we're completely off.
We're so
the way
out
you
of this
said
world.
it, you confused me.
Yeah, I got confused as well, but I understand.
We also got another guest star on this episode, Tim Meadows, who I don't know if he fit in as well. Like it definitely felt like Tim Meadows.
Yeah, he was solid. I mean, I enjoy him. I like his guest spots on like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's phenomenal. His role as the principal in Mean Girls is
okay, thank you.
He's got like some of my favorite lines of that movie. When they're all in detention, talk about the burn book, and he's like, "I will keep you here all night," and his aide goes, "We can't keep him past 4. I will keep you here till 4."
I was gonna say the same line. Why was I gonna say
I
the
like
same
him
line?
a lot. For his
so
one
funny.
scene, it was fine, but you could have slotted anybody in. But
Yeah.
I guess if it's a one-off character, they'd rather get some name, some face to give you some level of enjoyment.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're thinking like, oh, that must be an important person later on because they're featured, and then they never come back. Like, are we ever going to see him again?
No.
We might, actually. Tim Meadows does a lot of TV. Like, he was the guidance counselor on the Goldberg, so it's like this isn't out of the norm for him.
No, for sure. I don't know. Just one other piece of the New Republic bureaucracy. I'm not, he seems to just be another incarnation of that. That symptom.
Yeah.
So yes, the pirate. We are trying to quell a pirate invasion by Mossy McGreeny.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
on
his name.
Navarro.
That's what they call him, Bossy McGreeny. I will say, and you probably talked about it for the first episode when he first appeared, but that's a good makeup job.
So good, right?
I really think that the prosthetics on all the pirates, I mean, I know some of them are obviously repeated alien species of elsewhere in the series and the universe, but he looks great, and there's a lot of showcasing of that, I think, more than most of the other things I can remember of the Disney era of Star Wars, where you're spotlighting these different species and these different makeup styles. I mean, Cad Bane was probably a big one for them, just by bringing such a notorious character to life and getting the scowl right. And for these guys, I just really like the variety of the different looks. Vane almost has a familiarity to him, and maybe it's the voice and the performance, but it's I'm trying to figure out who's under the makeup, and I looked it up and I was like, I have no idea who that is. Never heard of that person before. But there's something about the personality that comes through and the seething hatred, that whole personality and the crew dug it a lot. I think they're awesome.
Same.
I love when I forget his name, Mossy McGreeny. When he
Gorian Shard.
Yeah, when he is in the
Gorian Shard.
Gorian Shard.
I said Dorian. Gorian.
When he's the little blue hologram talking to Grief Karga, they're faced the camera's to the side of him, and he looks like a Muppet.
I was going
mouth.
to say he gives Muppet. He is serving Muppet, and I'm not mad about it because obviously Star Wars and the Muppets are besties because of
since
Yoda.
day one.
Yeah. Frank Oz. Did Jim Henson perform the original Yoda puppet? Or
No,
was that,
it was always Frank Oz.
It was always Frank Oz that had his hand up there.
Yes. But yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing, Jim. That makeup job serves Muppet to me, and not in a bad way. I'm fine with it. But if you were oh yeah, that's a big Muppet, I'd be yup.
Without
sure
the
is.
articulation of the mouth, it's all forgivable just because of the pure originality of what you're looking at, which is
It's so cool.
This is a giant vine moss thing that grew on the side of the wall and then became sentient.
Yeah.
And decided he was going to start taking over planets.
He's giving Muppet Swamp Thing.
Like Sweetums. But
I was going to say Sweetums, yes.
Very
Sweetums.
But in mossy form. Sweetums got left in the swamp for a little too long.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey guys, wait for me, and I'm gonna go in a swamp now." I love Sweetums. That is a top 5 Muppet for me. He is the best.
I just love the Muppets. I'm so excited for the Muppets Mayhem show.
I was just gonna say I watched the trailer for that right before this, and I'm so pleased.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
I'm all in on anything Muppets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were the only thing that I don't know, felt a little too cheesy for me. Some of the, I don't want to call it banter, but some of the cross chat during the dogfight with the snub fighters and Din and Vane, so they're chasing Din. They're chasing him for a solid 15 minutes, and at some point, 10 minutes into that, Vane just says, "I'm on the N1." Yeah, dude, you've been chasing him for 10 minutes. We know you're on the N1. We know that you're behind him. That and he's above you. He's below you.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of that was just like they needed to fill time. It reminded me of the whole chase sequence in The Dark Knight that I can't stand. Whereas that one cop sort of narrating what's going on.
Yeah.
Just kind of
Yeah.
talking about, is that a bazooka? I didn't sign up for this. You did.
Yeah.
You signed up for it. It's that kind of thing that just kind of, I'm like, can we just have explosions and not talking?
The whole fight at the end of this episode was, like, not terrible as in the show was terrible as in the pirates were terrible. Because, like literally, it's like, okay, I drew off all the fighters. Oh, there's another ship. Really? Like, this isn't something that you guys have ever come across? Like,
they're bad
more
pirates.
than one ship?
They're worse than, like, Captain Hook's crew. Like, I'm not impressed. You know what I mean?
Like,
and they already got absolutely wrecked by Din by himself. Just episodes ago, which is probably, weeks in the span of the timeline, maybe a couple months.
Correct.
But you don't forget that happened.
It's
Right.
So they're like, we're all going after the N1. Okay, there's another ship. Everyone back to the ship. Oh, wait, we're getting attacked by the N1 again. Where did that come from? Where did the second ship appear?
You mean he didn't just give up?
Yeah. I also hated I actually said out loud, that was a stupid line. When Gorian Shard, I'm going to keep saying it, is like, it's the Mandalorian. I'm like, sure is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the show we're watching. It was so
welcome.
lame. It was so, I was like, you really are talking about this, like, weirdo like that? Like, it's the Mandalorian. I'm like, I understand, like, you saw that dude, like, just a few weeks ago or whatever, but, like, it was giving It's a Trap, but like worse, but like not good. You know?
So the flip side of that I think of is the fact that now Grief Karga knows and is familiar with many different Mandalorians and still insists on calling Din Djarin Mando.
Yes, drives me nuts.
Because
That
none of
also
them,
drives me nuts.
none of the rest of them have names. The only other one that has a name that's not Bo-Katan is Paz Vizsla. I guess his kid got a name.
I guess the armorer wouldn't be a
The
name?
armorer doesn't have a name.
No, the armor is a title. And how long are they going to draw that out? Like that, I'm just waiting for some big reveal of who the armorer is. I still don't trust the armorer. No spoilers for 7 because it hasn't been revealed yet, but I still don't trust the armorer. I don't know.
That's fair enough.
Something shady's going on. Vicky doesn't trust Bo-Katan. Vicky thinks that Bo-Katan's up to something.
Bo-Katan's not up to anything.
I don't think so.
Like,
I don't think so.
Nah.
Bo-Katan is literally the best part of this show.
Right now, yeah.
She's so good. Like
That and-
I enjoy that so far this season because they didn't like not that they really ever had except for finale episodes, but they don't have Pedro Pascal on set. So they're getting their absolute money's worth in badass Mandalorians with their helmets off by having Katie Sackhoff just annihilate stuff left and right whenever possible, with the helmet, without the helmet, whatever. But they're like, yeah, so we're just going to bring in another Mandalorian badass. And whenever Pedro's done with Last of Us, he can come over. We can have a little helmet reveal scene. I wouldn't be surprised if but by the end of the season, there's another one, just because that seems to be a trend. But yeah, they're definitely getting their spoils in as far as that.
Oh, Alex, the man is in captivity with Moff Gideon.
Well, no spoilers for 7.
Sorry. You don't think that Moff Gideon isn't going to take that man's helmet off?
Oh,
the
I for
helmet's
sure
coming
do.
off.
Oh,
Like, the
100%.
helmet's coming off.
Well, I wasn't trying to talk about that on the episode where we talk about 5 and 6.
I know, but come on now. They're all out, so we're going to talk about them. By the time this episode comes out, the finale's going to be out. So I don't know if that's true, Jim. That's
it's not true.
Like, okay, I just have no control over that. So I'm just like,
Well, speaking of revealing their faces, did anybody else, when the armorer tells Bo-Katan to take off her helmet, everyone else going, "It's a trap"?
It felt a little like. Yeah, it did feel like, is this allowed? Are you sure? And she's like, do you trust my position? Like, I do, but like, am I gonna, yeah, exactly. Is this a test?
yeah.
What am I,
right.
Am I gonna, if I take it off, you're gonna be like, all right, away with you. Get out of here.
Right. Like,
back to the waters.
I don't know what it was. I don't know why, but like, I trusted her. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be fine, because I think it's kind of just like this unspoken thing, like, okay, she's been putting in the effort, she's been trying, she's been living quote unquote the way, we know that, but her heart's not in it. It's fine. Like, I think that was a moment of just like, it's okay. It's okay that different Mandalorians live different ways. That's fine. I think that's the only way we're all going to come together. Now,
Right.
why the armor is all like into that idea of all the Mandalorians coming together at once, I don't know.
That's
about all
why
that.
I'm a little shaded out, and I wish we could talk more on 7 because there's certain plot points in there where I'm getting more and more suspicious. And I started the season very suspicious of her after the appearance in Book of Boba Fett. Where she was basically like, nah, until you bathe in the waters of Mandalore, which don't exist anymore, you're not a Mandalorian anymore. And then, obviously, that got resolved real quick, and then she was like, oh, sweet, come on in.
Yeah.
Bo-Katan, you were in those waters? You bathed too? Have you removed your helmet? All right, you're in. Let's do this. Let's start reuniting Mandalorians. And I
Seems like
started to cool off a little
yeah.
bit, and I was like, all right, so she's just very set in her ways. She's chill. Whatever. Even Paz Vizsla, who was an enormous dick. I don't know if you want to bleep that one too, but he's an ass. And then he just started being awesome. In the scene with the talking stick.
The scene with the talking stick. How
Yeah.
great was that?
Yeah, the talking conch. The magic conch.
Long live the magic conch.
I loved the.
I think I need to bleep that one though.
The magic conch?
The magic
That's
conch?
a SpongeBob reference. I know, Jim. I know. But you see, for once, I have a guest on that's the same age as me. And
Jesus.
so
Apparently.
we have the same reference points here. That was a freaking SpongeBob reference.
Conch shell.
The conch.
It's pronounced conch.
That's not how they pronounced it in SpongeBob.
Not in SpongeBob, it's not.
Oh,
Not my
hail the
whole
magic
life, it's not.
conch.
Yeah, my entire life it's been conch.
Well,
and
anyway.
all of a sudden I'm hearing conch, and I'm like, what?
So
It's so interesting.
So he starts off his spiel where he's like, we're sacrificing ourselves time and time again for other people, and why? And everyone's like, yeah, that's right. Why are we going to do this? And he's like,
We're not
"Because
going to
this-"
do this.
Yeah, right? And then he's like, because this dude's awesome, and he almost sacrificed himself for my son, and we are Mandalorians. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, okay, we'll do it. Like,
This is-
I didn't know that's where we were going, but all right.
This is the crowd that will do anything.
Anything. If you say it with enough gusto, they are behind you 100%, which is great for loyalty and terrible for like tactical planning.
I also
Because you
do
could
want
have a
to.
really bad idea and they'll be like, I'm in. Let's go. Let's get after it.
Yeah, whatever. They're like, it's fine. It'll
No
work.
wonder the Mandalorians had an enormous downfall. They just listen to whoever has the loudest voice.
They really do.
Oh, that rings true for today's. Oh, never mind.
I do. Before we get into the details of all that, again, I'm sorry. One more thing on 7 on the last episode, because it's a joke that's in my head that I have to say now because I'll forget.
Just write it down.
No, I'm saying it now. Paz Vizsla is now officially post Vizsla.
I
My
I
joke
thought of
that I've
that.
been saying the whole time.
I wanted the reveal
post-Vizsla.
of his son's name to be Post, just because
I'd loved it.
we had
I'd love
pre
We had
we had
Vizsla,
Paz.
which is like in media res.
Sure,
Like, you know.
I was waiting for him to be like, Post, are you okay? Takes off the helmet, Post
sorry.
Malone. That would have
no.
just. I really wanted that to
man.
be a thing. Of course it wasn't, because what an absolutely dumb idea, and I would have lambasted them for it, rightfully so. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't have found it absolutely hilarious like weeks later. Like, oh man,
Yeah.
they really did that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, he's now. I'm now referring to him only as Post Vizsla. That's his name. I don't care.
So the rest of the episode from there, there's a trope in media where if you see a group of people getting together and forming a plan, and you hear the details of the plan, usually it means that the plan does not go according to how it goes
Correct.
massively wrong. If you get that, all right, so here's the plan, and the camera pans out and you don't hear anything, and then you go to the plan, it goes well. Well, in this, they lay out the plan. Here's what we're gonna do. Din's gonna go on the N1. I'm gonna fly the dropship over. We're gonna send in 2 waves of troops, take back the town. Pirates are gonna be be gone, and that's going to be it. And then that's exactly what happens. The rest of the episode is just literally boom, 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 boom. They lose like 2 Mandalorians.
Yeah.
The only surprise, and I don't know when this happened, but the Armorer coming in and wrecking that room with the turret.
Yep.
She doesn't have
That
a
was
jetpack.
really cool, though.
Right? She doesn't carry a jetpack.
No.
Who dropped her off? Because no one landed.
Yeah. Who gave
well,
her a ride?
Yeah, I did. Stairs.
Stairs? She took the stairs from the ship?
Yep.
The sky
They gave her a
elevator?
parachute. We just didn't see it. She's got a
That
little.
would've been
She's
something.
like falling real slow. She's like, okay, I'll get there eventually.
She's only
Like,
ever allowed to
That's why it
appear
took her so
badass
long.
on the show. Yeah, exactly. That's why it was a big surprise. And no one heard her throw the heavy talking hammer at a dude's face and have it clank on the floor.
Oh, that was
no
so
one turned
dumb.
around.
That was so stupid. I was like, no one's acknowledging that she's right there beating the crap out of people.
It's a very loud turret.
Hello?
And they're very
So
pleased to be shooting at people.
Yeah.
Having
it was very
the,
weird.
Having the salacious crumb creatures in the tree spoiling the ambush was a really great moment. I enjoyed that. Where there's in the tree, they were
I had
like,
fun with that.
over there. Right there. They're right
Yeah.
there. Go get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that.
So
I
I
love
like
the use of Anzellans in this. I really like a lot of the background stuff that has no consequence whatsoever in this season.
Yeah.
Well, I
I
like
like
how
that we have Anzellans.
I like how they're using the Kwakian monkey lizards as a proxy
what
for
they're
time. Yeah, that's what they're called. Because like in the first episode, I think of the first season, they're getting roasted on a spit in Navarro,
Mm-hmm.
and now we have them basically free range monkey lizards. It's
Just
got-
living up in
Having
that
a
tree.
great time.
Having
like,
a
this,
blast.
This is our address. This is
That's
where
one
we
of the
live.
more dark moments of that first season is when there's one in the cage watching his friend get roasted and he's just like,
Yeah.
Like,
It was deeply upsetting.
they're sentient enough to like feel that, which is really twisted.
Yeah, it certainly is. Big no from me. But yeah, that I will say, like, Grief Karga is getting so showboaty, and this is not to besmirch Carl Weathers in any way. I'm just saying that what he's doing is fine and it's a choice, but he's just such that whole, like, I'm seeing in front of me a pompous, like, you know, nobleman, but like I hear Grief Karga. I'm like, same. Like, big same Gorian Shard, like, same, because he's just so... I mean, I guess that was always, like, his kind of... I don't know. It's just... It's taken me out of things, and I don't know fully why. But he's just, like, he's showing up with his little blaster in his hand, just, like, ready to go with, like, 6 people behind him, like, ready to fight, like, a bunch of pirates who are... And, like, they give up so quick. And I'm just like, I don't know about all that, man.
I think...
Like...
I see where you're coming. I think part of the problem is that anytime Carl Weathers' Grief Karga is on screen, he's always the center of attention.
He sure is.
He is never a background character.
Yeah. He's and it's like I love that like everyone's like applauding at the end and like so excited that they won. And he's
That
like
they're alive. They're so excited they lived.
yeah, they're so excited. He's like, thank you. Like, everyone hush, I gotta talk. And I'm like, thank you for what, bro? You didn't do anything.
Well, he did
I'm
get
like,
a message
what
out.
did you contribute? What's that? Oh yeah, I guess he did, but he didn't go to the Mandalorians. He went to somebody else.
That does surprise me. And I guess it's because Din had turned him down and said, "No, I'm busy doing this other thing. Like we're
Yeah.
you know, we're trying to take back Mandalore, and so good luck with all this. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know if I need to come back for that IG-11 unit." And then I guess the other part of it is like, oh, well, this guy, Carson Teva, was out here and said, like, we got your back whenever you need it. Like, you want to join the New Republic?
I
We're
don't
down.
know if, like, were those the words he used, or was it
No,
kind
but it
of
sure
a
seems to be the message that Grief Karga
misinterpretation?
got from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also do want to, because you brought up Carson Teva. Teva.
Teva.
Deva?
He's great. I love him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's fantastic, and I want only good things for him. He's gonna die. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to protect
I
him.
thought he
He's
was
great.
When he came upon the wreckage at the end, I was like, this is his death
I thought he was
moment.
dead.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought he was done. That's exactly what I was gonna talk about. That was so deeply upsetting. And like, Star Wars can do atmospheric horror so well, and they just give us these like 3-minute moments of it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I want the Star Wars horror movie. Like, that's what I want. I want like an actual like atmospheric space, like an Alien, right? Think Alien, but Star Wars. That's what I want so badly. And this gave me like a little bit of it again. It was like, I'm thinking the Drengir, like, that was terrifying. We talked about that. Like, there's so many moments of horror in Star Wars that we don't like. I want a fully fleshed out like thing, but I digress. It wasn't completely clear to me, and maybe we'll talk about this when we talk about 7, how he was like, oh my god, it's Beskar armor that broke out Gideon. Like, it like, are you telling me the Mandalorians did it? And then we see in 7 that, you know, Gideon's people have Beskar armor, and I don't know if they cancel each other out, or if I'm still supposed to suspect that Mandalorians are doing stuff that we don't know about.
Yeah, I had the same question, because it tees up more implications than we've gotten so far.
Correct.
I think we are supposed to be led to believe it's the Mandalorians. I think 7 answers that question, that it wasn't the Mandalorians. It was whoever Moff Gideon is working
stormtrooper people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is it a double bluff? Do you know what I mean? Like, are we supposed to think it's the Mandalorians, and then we're supposed to cancel that out with those
it's
like
of course his stormtroopers that he's been building? How has he been? How long has he been set up on Mandalore? How long has he been building his army?
What a stomach drop moment! Again, this is 7, but what a stomach drop moment when they walk into that chamber and it's just Imperials in the forge. That was so
from the
upsetting.
moment that he gets captured, like. Is all that stuff going on behind the scenes? I guess we never saw where he was set up after the whole Navarro thing, because then he's just on his light cruiser. And
There's been years between.
Then they take that. I know there has been like at least a year between
know.
each season, and I think there's about a year jump between season 2 and Boba Fett. I don't know what the jump is after that.
Is it a year? Or was it 3? Where am I getting 3?
It was 2 years.
Okay.
They said off camera that it was that Grogu was with Grogu was with Luke for 2 years.
For 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which I also wish we had felt more of that.
Yeah, I agree.
But, you know, business decisions
We
are
kinda
business
get it.
decisions.
Again, in 7, I'm sorry. We get it with the IG. Well, no. Yeah, in 7, when, like, Grogu breaks up the fight, and then Din is like, I didn't teach him that. It's like, like, you know what I mean? So we're starting to feel a little bit of that. But we didn't see any of it.
But you don't feel the distance just because we've literally not had a season of any of these shows without at least an appearance. So I am kind of missing that. And I feel like, obviously, Grogu's not been a focus of this season. He's kind of in the background for a lot of things. We had his rescue episode more fleshed out. But beyond that, he's kind of just more used as set dressing here and there. Beyond, like, the episode, Parzon, whatever, 15 planet where he's off.
Yeah.
Maybe. Where he's off helping Lizzo win games of space bocce ball.
How cute was that?
He's just kind of chilling, you know?
I don't even think he was, like, I'm scrolling through the pirate episode. I don't even, like, see him.
Right. He's around.
Yeah,
he's on the ship. When they're flying around, when they're speaking, he's there because when Din's having his speech with the talking stick, he's like, Grief Karg has had his differences with us, but then he fought alongside us to help my apprentice or whatever he called Grogu, my baby. And then we see
my
Grogu.
son. He should just say my son.
Yeah,
but it's fine
for sure. So he's there, but he's not. He hasn't. He's had a couple moments going to get Bo-Katan earlier in the season, his little sparring battle. But he's been kind of, I don't want to say an afterthought, because clearly there's no afterthoughts when it comes to Grogu, but he just hasn't been the center of it. And I wonder how much of that is, well, we had the bones of the story fleshed out when we were thinking he was going to still be off with Luke, but plans changed, and now we're doing this, and he's here, but I feel like we've never been away from him just as viewers, so you don't feel that gap in time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And when you can have Carson Teva hyper jumping around the galaxy in the span of a 40-minute episode, and nothing is held up by that, you know, like that takes time. And in that time that he went from wherever he was, maybe that was the Adelphi base, over to Coruscant, then to the covert, and then they go to Navarro's still standing. They haven't burned the place down.
I think time travel in Star Wars is supposed to be near instantaneous unless you
unless
need
it's
more
plot
time.
relevant.
Yeah.
Right.
Because hyperspace travel, I mean, we see it in the shows, we see it in Rebels. They'll spend large spans of time traveling in hyperspace. It will take hours to get between places, if not days.
Unless it doesn't.
Unless it's not relevant, yeah. And again, so I've kind of fallen off, and I'm getting back into reading Heir of the Empire, and they talk about how they'll be in a hyperspace lane for a day and a half, 2 days, to get from planet to planet. And now that's obviously old canon, but some of those factors are still going to be tied in and used, just because space magic can take you so far, but when you want to tee up some tension, then you're going to have a moment where, we can't get to them just in time. We can't get there like that, because otherwise there's no tension.
Yeah. I feel like we should wrap up this episode.
There's not much. It's just let's get to
shooty, splody. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I do want to say I liked the part where pretty much like all of Teva's. I like his little hopscotching. Katie M. O'Brien, I forget her character's name. I don't know if it's somewhere in there.
I think the convert she's named.
I think she may be evil.
Named.
I'm not sure.
You think? Wow.
I'm not sure.
That didn't cross my mind.
No, I think that she just felt that Pershing deserved what he got. I think she's totally on the up and up, though, otherwise.
Sergeant McBrain Fry. And then,
it's your buddy? I'll leave you alone with the controls then.
I really liked when he landed in front of the covert, and he's like, how did you find this place? Like, I used to work with one of you guys for the rebellion. I read 5.
Yes. Yeah. R5, the unsung hero of Star Wars. Yeah. Is it true or is it a theory? I forget if this was revealed, and maybe it's an old canon comic or novel or whatever.
Where he blew his motivator on purpose.
Blew himself up because R2 told him about the mission.
It's a Tales comic from Legends, and it was never meant to be canon. It was kind of like a jokey comic, but it's as soon as it came out, it was like, no, that's canon.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's a great idea, but now we've seen what an anxious mess he is. Like, no, he just genuinely couldn't keep it together, and his motivator blew up. But then he fought in the rebellion. So someone scooped him up from Tatooine at some point.
Or he fought before then.
He said Nicole? In the rebellion.
Yeah. My brain's just frying right now. I am R5 in this moment. I think that's adorable. I had never seen that like R2 told him to blow up his damn motivator because he knew about what?
No, R2 didn't tell him. He was just telling R5 about why he was on Tatooine.
Yeah,
and so R5 sacrificed himself.
Right.
That's kind of what I mean. Yes. It's just, my God, man. Fascinating. It's all fascinating and ridiculous. And I didn't put together that it's the same.
So if you want to look it up, he's called Skippy the Jedi Droid.
Get out.
Not joking.
Yeah, I think there were some interpretations that had him being a Force-sensitive droid as well, right?
That same one.
Yeah.
I hate it. And by that, I mean I love it. Fantastic.
Legends canon is just the best, man. They just threw everything out there.
They really did. They were like, here's all of it. The man with the Chanel boots has a wife. What? I'm talking about Luke. But yeah, unreal.
We didn't even talk about Zeb in the episode. Like,
no, we didn't.
He's great. He's there for 3
looked.
seconds. It's fantastic.
I mean, yeah, it's a little back and forth, and I really think it's it's a technical thing. It's a budget thing. It's a nice way to kind of tie it in.
testing.
Like, oh, he is around.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to see, like, you're starting to hear about, like, with the way that James Cameron's making his Avatar movies is, like, Avatar 2's budget is so inflated because him and his team are inventing the technology they'll use for 3, 4, and 5. So, like, they're basically using that budget now, knowing they'll make it back, and then carrying it forward. And this, to me, says, like, we're going to use some of the Mandalorian budget, because this thing prints money. We're going to build the Zeb, like, make him look real good for his 5 seconds, and then we can just use that in Ahsoka. And
Because
spend
who
our
is the
Ahsoka
only
money
member?
elsewhere.
Yeah, who is the only member of the Ghost we did not see in the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Well,
this is
no,
also
we
them
didn't-
testing the waters, making sure everyone's happy with it. Like, if everyone was like, wow, he looked like crap, they'd have time to change it.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog. Except this one was just good from the jump, so they're fine.
I noticed when they pulled
so good.
away on Zeb from the waist down, I'm pretty sure it was just human.
I have to look at that.
And if you notice, like, Zeb, he walks kind of, because his, like, feet are kind of splayed out, and he walks
Yeah.
kind of
Yep.
waddles. And I'm almost positive that it was just, like, a normal walk.
I'm
I saw him like
'cause-
waddle a little bit in the background. I was like, oh, there he is. There's my boy
as
hopping
he's walking up
towards
to
us.
the bar, he's got the movements.
Yeah.
I saw like
Yeah,
the
it's there.
discourse online of people who weren't sure it was Zeb, and it took someone to be like, "No, he's in the credits." It's Zeb. Like, why wouldn't it be Zeb?
Correct.
Why-
It's the same voice. It's the same. It looks just
Yeah.
like him. Why wouldn't it be Zeb?
And you're right. The voice actor, like,
Yeah.
is not
does it.
subtle.
No.
Like, I understand. So when I first saw the Anzellans in the first episode, I thought one of them was Babu Frick. I was just like, "Oh, it's Babu Frick, awesome!" And then there's many of them. And they all look the same. I was like, "Oh, it's probably not Babu Frick. They're just a very
They're
technical
all-
and smart species."
I can't tell them apart.
Right.
They all look the same to
and
me.
The Anzellan speak. Sometimes you get them in I watch with subtitles.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes you get Anzellan speak in subtitles, and sometimes you get what they're saying because it's basically the same thing. Like, you can understand them. They just speak a little weird. But yeah, I just found that really funny. Sometimes the subtitles are like, "Yeah, it's just speaking Anzellan," but you can hear him being like, "Oh no."
Yeah. The one so is like, no, bad baby. Like, bad.
I love
bad
that. No
kid,
squeezy.
No squeeze.
squeezy.
I'm like, oh my god, I died. I was like, oh.
It's
That's
genuinely
cute.
the only part of Rise of Skywalker I like is Babu Frick.
Fair
I'm
enough.
okay with saying that. I know you guys forgive that movie.
We
It's
do.
the only thing that it did for me was introduce us
Was
to Babu
Babu Frick?
Yeah,
Fair enough.
All right. So let's
So
skip on to
6.
to our buddy cop movie.
Guns for Hire. We talked about it a bunch, so I didn't feel too bad not moving on early enough. I rewatched it this morning, and I really love this episode.
Yeah,
I really do.
it's
Like,
a Clone
Great
Wars
episode.
episode.
Yeah. It definitely feels like a Clone Wars
It's got
episode.
the vibe of the Clone Wars. There's droids in it. You've got these larger than life
funny.
characters. It's very funny. And it like the comedy works. Din kicking
This
a bunch of
was-
super battle droids in an assembly line is hilarious to me.
This is the one Bryce Dallas Howard
Yes.
directed.
Yep.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, yep.
Yep. And Filoni co-wrote the script with Favreau.
You had
Makes
me at Battle
more
Droids.
sense.
Yes, you had me at
Bro,
battle droids. Like
You had me at Battle Droids.
which
I'm
was
like,
5
same.
minutes ago, which means Din just shut down everything else. He's like, battle droids, I'm in. There's 5 minutes more of conversation where Bo is like, why us? Like, why? You've got an army out there. Oh, you can't bring in the army. Okay, why are we allowed to keep our weapons? And Din's just like, dude, we're going to do it. Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
let's get
He's
after
like,
it.
do what you got to do to be convinced I'm in. Like he's just like, bro, this is my vibe.
Also,
but
when- Oh, sorry. Go.
I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead.
When he is kicking the battle droids or super battle droids, he's kicking each one, and then you get to the one where he really nails it so the droid falls over, and the droid gets up and slugs him.
Yep.
I laughed so hard. It was hilarious. It's like, oh, we found the defective one. It's like, no, you found
That's
the
the
one
one you
that wasn't
knocked
willing
over.
to put up with your crap anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he leaned into that kick. That thing went
sure did.
down.
Yeah. That
And
was hilarious.
like, the foreman couldn't be less surprised by everything that's unfolding in front of him. Because the poor foreman's just doing his job, and he's just like, dude, don't do that. Don't do that. They're fine. Don't do it. You see what happens? Now you did it.
Yeah. I wanted to say that the foreman, because those are super battle droids and he's just a battle droid, right?
Correct.
So
He's
the
a
battle
B1,
droids are taller than I thought they were. Am I out of my mind that I thought they were like half of that height? And then this guy's standing next to Din and Bo and like the same height as them. Weren't they always shorter? Am I stupid?
I don't think so.
They're
'cause-
always been about human height. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
just think of the times they were
so
taken
wrong
down
this
by
whole time.
Anakin and Obi-Wan, and they're not down there.
I guess. What's wrong
when
with me?
Anakin chops off, like cuts a bunch of them off in half when he's going to rescue the
You're
Chancellor,
right.
he's swinging high. He's
You
swinging
know what?
pretty high.
You're right.
And all
I
the
don't
stuff
know
with
why
the
I thought they
Gungans
were,
in
like-
the first episode, they're contemporary height.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought they
Comparable.
were like 4 feet tall.
Are you
Like, I thought they were
mixing?
little-
Are you mixing
know.
the pit droids in your head? Because those are
Maybe those are teeny
Those are
weeny.
short.
Yeah.
and they're
I didn't think they
similar
were
kind
that
of vibe.
small. I thought they were like 4 feet tall, like a little shorter than me. You know what I mean? But taller than 2 feet tall pit droids. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. I don't know why my brain just didn't perceive them ever as that tall. It kind of makes them a little scarier, just a little bit. Just a little. They're still stupid, but
the-
just like
The thing is like they're not scary to the Jedi, but to everybody else, like these things are like mechanical murdering machines. Like
Right,
They
and
are,
they
yeah.
they storm your town in a sea of like 100 of them at a time.
yeah.
There's nothing more you can do, and they're usually backed up by super battle droids and droidicas.
Yeah, this is true.
Like, if you're just on the receiving end of that and with no combat experience, you're terrified. If you're Din Djarin, you're kicking them the first moment that you have an opportunity.
Yeah.
Keep in
I feel
mind-
that.
the super battle droids are the one that attacked his village.
Yes, that's
Right.
yeah.
Oh,
I thought about that
absolutely.
too. Yeah,
That's why
and
he's
like
so
we thought
mad.
he worked through all of his stuff with the because he even did not trust IG-11 until the very end. We thought he might be working through it. You see him kind of tolerating droids through the course of the series, but the second it's like battle droids, he's like, "No, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
I'm investigating this to the fullest extent and with all prejudice."
What's our man's name? First of all, let's talk about that cold open, okay? Because that was delightful.
I
The Mon
thought that was going to
Calamari
be the
and
focus of the
Quarren-
whole episode. I thought there was going to be
I
like a
did too.
Romeo and Juliet. I thought
And then
that's
we were
where we
like-
were going.
Let's go that way instead. How delightful, and I kind of want to hear that story. Like, I kind of want us to go back. Although I don't think we will. I think it was just a
I
throwaway
can't say
moment.
it did anything for me.
So
It was a little
Fair
weird,
enough.
and you had the captain of the ship who, like, just kept insulting people and then walking it back and saying, "Oh no, that's not what I meant." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't know we had to pay off warlords," and they're like, "We're not warlords." She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Our our
my
imperial
English
friends."
isn't that good.
Yeah.
My basic sucks.
And then she says to the Mon Calamari prince dude who she kidnapped, like, "I can't throw everything away for a childish fling." And he's like, "Is that all it was?" And she's like, "No."
Yeah,
That's
that was
absolutely not what
really
I meant.
interesting.
Like, oh, come on.
I said who is not paying attention? I don't speak this language very well.
At a
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
point, you're using that as an excuse, and like you're speaking your mind. It's not being received well, and then you don't have the guts to just stick to it. You don't have the
Yeah.
conviction. So she's just like, "Oh no,
It's
that's
so
not what I meant.
interesting.
I meant I will always love you."
Yeah, it's interesting, which is why I want to know more. Because I was like, what is going on around here? Like, what is happening currently?
There was some interesting background setup stuff of just like she's chilling out in this tank of water. Some dude brings her a goldfish in a glass and feeds it to her. And then the second they get hailed, the tube goes away and she's sitting down in a chair and she starts talking to them. Even though she was communicating just fine with her bridge crew in the
Yeah.
thing. We don't know why it was there. She could have stayed in it. I'm definitely intrigued by that, just technologically wise.
I'm
I don't
wondering-
need more of that story.
I'm wondering
Fair enough.
why does she get to be in the water and none of the other crew gets to be in their like little tank of water? Like they're
Yeah.
clearly all the same species.
They're
Yeah.
Quarrens, right?
Yes.
And we see them, like we saw them last season on the fishing boat where they were kind of acting like a-holes and trying to kidnap Grogu.
Yes.
But they clearly don't, like, I'm sure there's some kind of, like, oh, if they're spending time in water, it's better for breathing or whatever, and they need to spend some amount of time in water. Sure, I guess. But that's the first time we've seen it, and you're right. The rest of them are just sitting in chairs, chilling out.
I have perhaps a stupid question. Be prepared to cut this out.
Uh-oh.
Never.
Is Plo Koon?
No, he's not
Quarren?
Quarren. No.
What is he?
Because, you get where I'm coming from, right? Like, it's a similar head shapes and coloring, and I was he's not, right?
No, he's a Keldor, and he has the face mask because he doesn't breathe oxygen.
Right, that's what I thought.
Right.
But you could see how I'd be like, well, he doesn't breathe oxygen if he's a Quarren, like, he might need water. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, in the pirate crew, there was a Quarren, there's a Weequay. They have similar features and dangly bits off the face and
that's
similar tones, and I get the the mix up.
Yeah, I just didn't think he was.
There's some distinguishing marks on Plo Koon too, where he doesn't have like the anvil shaped head.
Yeah. I'm looking I have a pin of him over here, and I'm like looking at it. And I'm like,
So friend of the show, Holly Fry, she had tweeted out. I know she tries to grab the episodes as soon as they're released, and she had tweeted out. She's like, no spoilers, but it was a very weird episode. And I'm like, if Holly's thinking this is a weird episode, I'm in for a freaking treat going into this thing. And then we get this cold open. We get this cold open. I'm like, what on earth is going on here? Mm-hmm. And like the second time around, I know what I'm in for. And it's still, you're right. This opening, it's
a little jarring.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Because it leads into the title card of Guns for Hire. So you're kind of thinking, oh, we're going to follow Axe Woves and Casca Reeves and what they're doing before Bo and Din find them at the end of the episode. That's what this is going to be. Something's going to go wrong. They've now taken the Mon Calamari dude. Someone else is going to come along. None of that happens. We never see him. He's not at their camp. They just went back and were chilling.
Gone.
Nope, because he even says, I caught it. He says, we got another contract at Pleasure Planet, and that's where that's where we see them. Like,
yeah. And I gotta say this, I love a name, right? I love making fun of everybody's name. My guy's name is basically Axe Wound, and nobody is like talking about that. His name's Axe Wound.
He was named by George Lucas.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
So he didn't. I think this is the first time he's named on camera.
I think you're right.
So that episode, I think that was the Heiress last season, when they first showed up, was shot, and George Lucas was on the set, and apparently he named Axe Woves.
Of course he did.
And then we didn't see Axe Woves again for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Which was then my question of, he was gone. Now he's leading this group of Mandalorians, and Casca Reeves, who was side by side with Bo until I guess she lost the Darksaber and lost faith in, or they lost their faith in her, is relegated to like a side role where she has maybe 3 lines and doesn't really do anything.
She didn't say much.
And I'm wondering if it's because they weren't sure that they were going to have her for this season, so they gave it to Axe Woves instead.
Yeah, I guarantee you it was a WWE thing. I guarantee you it was something with her contracts and something like that.
Was it the same?
And also, she's not an excellent actor. So
no,
that's
but
a
I
lot
just
of
thought.
lines.
I mean, that's never held some of these shows back before.
This is true.
If they want to use the character, they will.
Yeah, you're right.
It was the same guy playing Axe Woves, right? Because he did not look familiar at all.
It was the same guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't process.
I don't know. I would have to look.
What he looked like.
I would have to look up the actor to confirm that, but in my memory, it looks like the same guy.
They're throwing him in a lot of stuff in the last 2 episodes. Like, he is front and center as far as leading that sect of the Mandalorians.
For sure.
But like, he was inconsequential in season 2. And then to the point where they didn't even bring him back for the last episode to storm the ship.
Right.
They just got to the bar and it was just Bo-Katan and Casca, and they were just like, hey, you guys want to come? We're going to take Moff Gideon's ship. And they're like, sure.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Simon Cassianides. Oh, that is a name. Cassianides.
Cassianides? Cassianides? I don't know.
Is that Greek?
It sounds like it.
Yeah, literally the first Google question that pops up is
How to
Simon
pronounce-
Cassianides Greek.
I'm not making stuff up over here.
Yeah, there you go.
The child of Greek, I'm guessing that's Cypriot origin.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just found that whole like.
Yes, same actor.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it should have been. I just, like, genuinely could not... A moment of face blindness where I was like, you could tell me anyone whose Axe was to be like, yeah, I remember him.
Correct. I just found the whole plot of this episode so fascinating that they're like, we're gonna go talk to like Axe and his people, but like
No,
before
you're
we
not.
do that, we got to go on an entire side quest.
Yeah.
It felt so like D&D.
Well,
of
it's,
like,
it's a
we know
Mandalorian
exactly
episode.
what-
Welcome
Yeah,
to the whole rest of the series of everything that
I
goes
guess
on.
you're right.
Din wants
Yeah.
to do something and someone says, sure, but first...
Yeah, you're right.
Go
you're
over
right.
here.
You're not wrong. It just
It's
felt
literally-
so like blatant, and also just like
It's an RPG. It's
it's
D&D. It's
definitely-
Skyrim.
yes,
It's all these things.
It feels that way. It really felt that way. And it was just so funny to me that they get on this little like monorail thing, and I'm like, oh, they're going to Disneyland. I was like so excited for them. I was like, that's how they got to Galaxy's Edge.
You want
I was
to
like,
talk about dumb names? Captain Bombardier?
Bombardier. Bombardier. I loved that. I loved it. I was like, this is so dumb. I live for it. It was so ridiculous. And it was just a delightful little like, yeah, we're gonna leave Grogu with Lizzo because once again he'd be just so useless in this whole situation. So let's
Right,
just
and if
leave
they
him there.
didn't, Lizzo wasn't going to come to set.
Correct. That's a fact.
She signed
I
on to
didn't
hang
hear
out
it.
with Grogu.
That is, I would not be surprised if that is exactly
She
what happened.
loves, like, Vicky showed me videos from her TikTok of her, like, doing makeup as Grogu.
She loves Grogu.
She lives
yes.
and breathes Grogu.
Like,
Yep.
this was the best day of her life. Like, this was
You
so
better
good
believe
for her.
it. I'm wondering if that's kind of like a motif. The Quarren and the Mon Calamari, like, star-crossed Romeo and Juliet lovers that can't be together, shouldn't be together. Lizzo and Jack Black being royalty and imperial, unlikely matchup. Not exactly
Interesting.
plot relevant, but I'm wondering if that's just like the why this and then that.
interesting. It's an interesting call out. I don't know.
I liked
That's funny.
So going back to the humor of this episode, there's one more that I really liked, where they're checking out the infected blood, and they pull the blood out of the droid or the
Yeah.
the
Yep,
fluid,
yep.
and he goes,
Wild.
"Well, is this still active?"
Yeah.
And then
Like, basically, is this going to corrupt the droid that just pulled it out?
and then the medical droid goes haywire, and Bo just looks at him and goes, "They're still active." Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
I like-
funny.
perfect.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard.
It's
Yeah,
a
it was
total
very good.
like tonally and in their chemistry and their back and forth, it's a very buddy cop episode. It's
Yeah,
good cop, bad cop.
it is.
It's two unlikely partners that are using each other's skills to get to the bottom of the mystery. So like the whole thing with the Ugnaughts, where she's
So
very
good.
matter of fact. She's like, look, these things are malfunctioning. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. And then he's like, no, you gotta kind of be an asshole. You gotta kind of just get to the point and be like, but also kiss up to them. You gotta tell them, like, no, we know that you are the hardest working species in all the galaxy, and we would never question your work. We just want to know where the next event might happen, and then we'll be in your debt. I have spoken. Like, oh yeah, just go down to the shipping yard, and we think that something's gonna go on there.
Our droids don't manufacture or don't malfunction, but if something were to happen here,
it would be here.
But here's what's interesting. I still don't know, knowing that that's what was going on, right? And like we find out why they're malfunctioning and whatever. How do the Ugnaughts know where the next? How? how.
Statistics, I guess.
Maybe, but they're right. It's not their fault, and it's not something they're doing.
Right.
I'm guessing.
You know what I mean?
I'm guessing they know.
They might know, and they're just not
They know
sharing
that
that
Christopher
information.
Lloyd's
That's a
messing with
good
stuff.
shout.
They have no reason
Yeah.
to share it. And, Christopher Lloyd sent them down to the Ugnaughts on purpose because he knows they're not going to get anything out of the Ugnaughts.
Correct.
Yeah, that's true.
You're absolutely right. That could be it. That absolutely could be it. That whole thing was fascinating. But then we get through all of that. It's great. It's lovely. Lizzo and Jack Black being phenomenal. Great. Love that. Then we actually get to Axe Wound and his people. And that fight was fantastic. And Din's just standing there. Great. Grogu's just sitting there like, this is safe. There's knives flying around. It's bananas.
There's a
and then she
rocket
wins 'cause
launch
she's in-
that shoots off and almost hits people that are sitting
Yes,
around.
that's right. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
bananas. But then we get to, I think, the most interesting, like, not to bring up Harry Potter, but I'm gonna bring up Harry Potter. The whole, like, thing of the Elder Wand belongs to Harry because this, and this happened. It's the same damn thing with the Darksaber.
Yep.
And I think it's hilarious that no one was like, oh yeah. Did anyone point out in that moment in the
We
minds
didn't.
of Mandalore, like, did anyone catch that
No.
besides Din Djarin? Because that was the most excellently executed,
Yeah.
like, turn.
But he didn't.
Because I don't think anyone picked up on it, but it's absolutely
It's true, but he didn't give it up until it became, like, relevant to the conversation.
I think
I don't even
because-
think she acknowledged it. Then she was like, yeah, actually, all those things did happen. This is legit.
I think because she had given up on it. And also, we talked about how when she used it, it was easy for her. It was like...
Yeah, well, she has experience
the thing
using it.
didn't resist at all. And even then, we didn't go, oh, it's because it belongs to her because this and this happened, whatever. And this person got disarmed, and then this droid got disarmed, and so it's hers. Like, we didn't... It was so well done. And I think he was just holding on to that until it would be most needed.
It also had an audience
Yeah.
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
there's no point
So
in
it
giving
was
it to
timely.
her at the there's no point in giving it to her in the bottom
Privately.
of a cave of
Yeah.
Mandalore that nobody sees. Yeah, I could have told the
Correct.
story. Here I'm
Correct.
presenting something in front of all of you Mandalorians. My honor,
Correct.
like my honor's on the line of this story.
Yeah. Because the whole point is the story. That's why, like, anyone could wield it. I mean, they could pick it up. She didn't pick it up knowing that it was hers, but she just knew that was their way out, was to use the weapon that they had. Anyone could pick it up and use it, whether or not you're the rightful, ruler of Mandalore. There was a post on the Star Wars subreddit recently, just a screen grab from the episode of Rebels where they're taking back Mandalore, and it's when Sabine has the Darksaber and she's learning how to use it, and she gets knocked out by a stormtrooper. And the caption was, remember when this random stormtrooper was the ruler of Mandalore for a couple minutes?
Ooh, yep. That's interesting.
Yep.
I
I
but
enjoyed
yeah,
that.
I both loved and hated how easily that whole thing kind of got wrapped up. And it's like, yeah, I'm not giving it to you as a gift because this, and this, and whatever.
I thought it made
And
a
then
lot of sense.
Immediately, oh, it definitely did. And then immediately, all of Axe Wound's people are like, "Yep, it's her. Here we go. Let's go hang
Because
out
again,
with the
it's
people we
a
hate."
story, and it's honoring the history of Mandalore, which is their whole thing.
But my favorite part is when Din is retelling the something, the story.
Relaying.
Thank you. At the
so
end,
welcome.
he's like, "Should it not be hers?" Dead silence. Did I stutter?
Like, should it? He's like, I'm asking y'all.
Right.
This is not rhetorical. I'm asking you.
I literally said
Like,
that watching
participate.
it. This was not a rhetorical question.
It's the same. It's the same vibe as the Paz Vizsla rousing speech to get them to go and save Navarro. It's they will go along with anyone if you tell them firmly enough and with enough gusto, and you kind of have a point. I guess is also important, but like they'll just fall in line If it makes sense. Like, oh, you know
Yeah.
what? No, that actually, that tracks. It is hers, and yeah, okay, we're sorry we left.
Yeah, my bad.
I don't even think they're like, my bad. It's like, okay, let's next.
Right.
This is what we're
Same
doing
as
now,
it
I
ever
guess.
was. We're back at it again. It was fun while it lasted, but yeah, we're in.
Also, did anybody not think that Christopher Lloyd was the villain of the episode? Like, it's
Again,
Christopher Lloyd.
It was the Clone Wars thing. It's the vibe of the episode where it's like it's the second person that gets introduced in the investigation.
Yeah.
That ends up
and
being
his
the
whole
culprit.
reasoning,
It's
all
a-
of his
it's-
Count Dooku stuff, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. I don't,
Okay.
I don't know that it needed to go that far. It could have just been like, I'm tired of people living fat and happy up here, and I wanted to show them that if we take the droids off, they need to learn how to live for themselves.
Yeah.
Tying it into the separatist movement and being upset at Jack Black existing, whatever, sure. I bought it, you know. I thought he played it well. He portrayed it very well. Good for Christopher Lloyd being
Yeah.
like up for that at this rate. You know, he could just be
Yeah.
coasting on Back to the Future panels, but he's game to show up in your franchise, in your episode of show, and give it all he's got.
And he was in
I
it.
loved. Oh, he sure was.
He had the pronunciations down. He had to say some ridiculous things, which out of context, if you're reading a script, you're like, what is this crap?
What's me?
What are you asking me to say? Sure.
Hello?
Okay, I'm in.
Like, yeah. I laughed very hard at the wide shot at the end when Lizzo's like, you have to live out the rest of your life on the what's it called?
moon.
Banished on the moon of whatever the hell. And he just like, he takes it, he hangs his head, and he walks away, and there's a wide shot of him walking away for too long.
Yep.
And I laughed. He's doing the actor thing of, I need to be out of this scene, but I need to also be realistic and take my time, but it's so far. But no one's going to see it, but I'm just going to keep walking.
Right.
Because I have to commit to the bit here.
He
And
could have just been
it's so-
escorted off screen.
So long.
Yep.
It takes so long. And I laughed very hard. The whole episode is so weird, and I loved it. I thought it was so weird. It was great.
Like Lizzo and Jack Black, like if you were going to put them anywhere in this entire series, like if you count any of the series, Andor, anything,
Yeah.
this is where they fit in this episode, like
100%.
perfectly. And like, like everything was great.
Yeah.
The droid bar was absolutely fantastic. It's like, you know, I have
So interesting.
I'm gonna rip off your hearing processors or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you're talking about the droid next to the droid, and I'm pretty sure it can hear you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was fantastic when they're like kind of being quiet, and the droid's like, I can hear everything, and I'm just going to respond. Thank
Yeah.
you. Like, so good.
And you have
It's just so funny.
Depending on the room that they're in at any given moment, Din is bouncing between being the good cop and the bad cop. So,
Yes.
like, in the room with the Ugnaughts, he's good cop. And he's, like, playing up, like, no, we're totally, like groveling to them, almost. They go to the droid
Yeah.
bar, and he's like, you might respect them, but I absolutely do not. And I'm not going to hide that fact.
Yeah.
he also
So
kicked them earlier, so I thought,
Yeah.
I did find it hilarious how their modus operandi between the two groups completely flip-flopped, and they didn't notice it. Like, no, we got to do it this way with the droids. Like, you didn't notice, like, that you're treating these groups completely differently.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I really like what they've done with these two just through the season, where it went from her being entirely resentful and like, I've lost everything. It's pretty much your fault. I know you didn't mean to take the Darksaber, but like, there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm just going to sit in my castle and be sad. And now they're like just super chill with each other. His whole, his speech to her in episode 7, Vicky turned to me and
cried a
said,
little
when we renew our vows, you're saying that to me.
Ooh. Okay, Vic.
They're, are they gonna at least co-parent Grogu?
I don't think
Are
so.
they gonna like spend their remaining days like just making sure that Grogu's okay until they die, even if they're
I
not?
mean, maybe
you know,
that.
even if
Maybe
they're not-
that. I thought you were going somewhere else.
Well, there's that too. I wouldn't be surprised if
I would hate it.
They knock Beskar boots.
I would be so mad. I'd be like furious if they do that. I'm gonna be so upset because we don't need that.
I see no
Like, we
reason they
just-
should, but I mean,
There's no reason
they're
for that.
already basically parenting this kid.
That's fine.
Like, they might
could be
as well.
platonic co-parents.
Right.
Fine. Like, I'm okay with that. Because they're just buddies, you know? They're just pals. And I love to see that. Yeah, I don't know, man. Because that man had so much chemistry with that one, like, lady in season 1 that also
yeah,
Bryce
yeah,
Dallas
yeah.
Howard. Like, there is none of that.
That's another
zero
passage of
of
time
that.
thing. Like they were on that planet for months.
Yeah.
Like he had time
Bananas.
to lay the groundwork with Forest Lady before he had to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. They were that I understood. That I was on board with. Okay. This I am not, because there is just simply none of that. Like none of that. Just like there's a lot of respect and admiration and appreciation of each other's like company, but not that. And I'll lose my mind. Co-parenting platonically, go ahead. Fine.
I also get the
Go
vibe
ahead.
that just at a moment's notice, if it served her, she'd beat the crap out of him and be like,
Oh, God, yeah.
she would turn on him on a dime if she had to.
If she had to. I don't know what it would take for that to happen. I could see it, but I also think that she does have some level of loyalty to him, like, but like
And he certainly
also
does to
just
her.
showed
He's
up
not
5
he's
minutes
not
ago,
gonna
so.
turn his like if he turns away from the way, it would
Yeah.
be to help her in her quest to rule Mandalore.
Right.
And if this whole
Yeah, I think
thing,
you're
which I
right.
thought this whole season was going to be a slow realization for Din that the way is not everything, and falling into the Children of the Watch is not the way he wants to live his life.
Which is the opposite of the direction that it seems to be taking.
Right, which it completely
Yeah.
pivoted back to, no, this is how you're going to be, and this is who you want to be with, and he's totally, like, any question that was in his mind after they banished him, gone.
Mm-hmm.
But if something happens by the end of the season where maybe the armor is up to something and he turns his back on that, it will be in service of, because she has walked both worlds as a Mandalorian and deserves to rule Mandalore, and y'all are nuts. And he might finally get there. It just kind of took the scenic route.
Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. That's where we're going. But we'll see. We got one more episode, right? Oh, great.
Un
So-
mas.
Amazing.
Got 2 more to discuss because we didn't talk about 7 at all.
No, not even a little bit.
Whoever you have next week is going to have a lot of groundwork laid for them.
Well, it won't be next week.
Oh, that's right. You're gone.
It won't be next week.
It'll be a couple weeks. Yeah. So I think that's all. I do. One more thing. I think when they're in the droid bar, I'm almost positive I saw the same droid
Possible.
as Hu Yang in the background.
What's that? Who's that? What are you
I
talking
believe you're right. The
That's
Jedi.
the from in the Ahsoka trailer.
Oh!
Yeah,
yes. Oh my
the
God.
lightsaber
Why did my
droid. What do
brain
we- yeah.
stop? Yes, David
That-
Tennant. Yes, I'm
That
with you.
does sound. That sounds right. Also, the droid, the protocol droids that welcome them. Obviously, one looks like an R2 unit.
Oh,
or
they
whatever.
looked like BT and 000.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, originally I thought it might be 000 and something fishy was going to be going on, but then it wasn't. It wasn't a 000. It wasn't like that protocol droid. It was one that looked like the Alan Rickman droid from Rebels.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
And I thought we were getting the return of Alan Rickman droid, whose name escapes me.
How?
But I also saw all sheen black droids look very imperial and evil, and I thought it might be for a moment 000. And
That's what
BT.
I
And was
thought as well.
Because we got Chrysanthemum, we basically fleshed out
Chrysanthemum.
Yes, Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum.
We've basically fleshed out and brought into live action many characters adjacent to Dr. Aphra. Except Dr. Aphra. That's just a matter of time, right?
I think so.
I would assume so.
I only got up to the point where she faked her death to escape Vader.
But you didn't read any of the the Aphra comics, because that was in Vader.
Oh, was that in the Vader comics? Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Yeah, then maybe I didn't read any of the Aphra comics. I just am aware of
Oops.
her travels from the Vader comics.
All right. That it? We good?
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. You can find us on Twitter, as long as that's still a place, at Talkin Tauntauns. You can email us, talkintauntauns@aiptcomics.com. You can join our Patreon and join us on Discord through AIPT Comics. You can leave us a 5-star review. We'd love them. We will read it on the air, possibly.
We like them.
Have you ever done
Yes. I have.
Yes.
that? Oh, okay.
Several times. Yeah, that's all we got. We'll be probably about 2 weeks, but we will be wrapping up the last 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. So we will see you then.